Just let us know when you're ready.
I'm all ready, Mayor.
All right, ready on the right?
Ready.
Ready on the left?
Ready.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first meeting of the new year of January 3rd, 2023 for the regular scheduled city council meeting. My name is Mark Clark, the mayor. I'll call the meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Clark.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Castle.
Here.
Councilmember Spear.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Neal.
Present.
Councilmember Mortensen.
Here.
Councilmember Providence.
Here.
All right, next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address city council on any item that is not on the agenda or of a public hearing? If so, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please. Steve, come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Steve Teets. I'm in Greeley. I just want to, a few months ago, I brought some information about housing and homelessness, and I was just wondering if you had time to read it. If so, if I could have some kind of feedback on what you read, would it be appreciative? Like now or maybe after the meeting, would appreciate it. Second of all, along those lines, that thousands of people coming from the border from the south and the border towns are having problems, but also got quite a few that came to the Denver area recently, and they opened up the Denver Coliseum and a few other places like the libraries or the also the rec centers down in the Denver area, and more is probably could be coming. And my concern is, after a while, people do migrate and coming up north or whatever direction. And Denver was starting to had certain programs, certain opportunities to have people getting off the streets. It's slow, but they had, in fact, they bought some land and was going to build some apartments for people homeless and various other programs that they try to start to cut down, and now they're overwhelmed by it. Another thing I would like to mention too is what is your definition of affordable housing? Because people have different definitions, and I would like to share mine. What I call affordable housing, those who are on retirement or part-time jobs and even full-time jobs be able to afford apartments or at least a house. And there's a lot of people that even have jobs, full-time or part-time, on the streets. So I'd just like to know your definition of affordable housing. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Is there anybody else that wishes to address city council on any item that is not of a public hearing or on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Amanda Clark, is there any changes to the agenda?
No, Mayor.
Would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the agenda.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, consent agenda. Item number 1, approval of the December 20th, 2022 City Council meeting minutes. Item number 2, consideration of ordinance number 786-22 to amend several sections of Title 18 of the City of Evans Municipal Code to clarify outdoor storage regulations and to remove the 5-year limitation on special use permits for outdoor storage. Second reading. Item number 3, consideration of ordinance number 788-22, clarifying enforcement of Title 15 violations. Second reading. And item number 4, consideration of ordinance 792-23 to amend sections of Title 18 of the City of Evans Municipal Code to allow consideration of repair shops as an accessory use to retail on the 85 overlay district. Second reading.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, new business. Item number 5, public hearing to consider resolution number 42-2022, approving a special use permit for an electronic messaging component within a new sign to be located at Union Collin Elementary School located at 1051 29th Street Road. I will open the public hearing and we will hear from staff.
Yes, Mayor and Council, as noted in the title of this agenda item, the Union Colony Elementary School has applied for a sign that has a part of it that wants to be an electronic messaging board. Those are only allowed as a use of right, by right in the US 85 overlay district. Otherwise, they do require a special use permit, and those need to come through you and the Planning Commission. So here to describe this further and the processes that this has been through is Ann Bess Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Reedy, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. So the application that you have before you tonight is for an electronic messaging sign in the C3 zone district on property located at 1051 29th Street Road. It is the Union Colony Elementary School. At their hearing on 12/27, Planning Commission did vote to send their recommendation of approval to you, and minutes are included in your packets this evening. So as you can see, this is 29th Street Road. 11th Avenue is the western boundary. The proposed sign location is right here in this little circle, just north of 29th Street Road and east of 11th Avenue. This is the school, this is the parking lot, and then this is the City of Evans parcel right here, just for orientation. The sign is proposed. This is a conceptual view of the sign. The component up at the top here identifying the location will be set. The component of this monument sign that will be electronic is where this flag is illustrated right now. And then this is the base or the pylon that the monument sign will be located on. This is just an artist's rendition from the sign company, and Larry Godwin with the sign company is on via Zoom. And we also have a representative of the school. This is the existing view right now. Taking a look at the next slide, this is just the construction standards. There is, it just shows how much will be underground for stability, and again, those components. Just as a standard slide in every application for those in the audience that don't understand the process that somebody goes through for a special use permit, and includes pre-application meetings, review of application materials. On the slide, it does contain code references. I'm not going to read them. And then public notice is provided. Surrounding property owners within 500 feet were noticed on November 10th. It was published in the Greeley Tribune on December 9th, and a sign was posted on the property on November 7th. The public hearings, the November 22nd public hearing before Planning Commission needed to be continued because the Greeley Tribune did not notice the publication correctly, so they did correct it and noticed for the 12/27 Planning Commission and tonight for City Council. The Evans Municipal Code in 1806-060F identifies the process for standard special use permits. This is not a standard special use permit. So items such as a drainage report, a traffic impact study, a grading plan, those we did not have them complete. What you see in your packets are the application materials that we asked them to provide us with, because it was more in alignment with, the nexus for the application itself. And then also, the staff followed the review process found in the code and also including in the sign code. So again, this is the standard criteria for approval. You'll really want to focus on conditions D, F, and G, which really apply to this particular type of land use permit. Compatibility, the applicant is present and they can talk about when the sign will not be illuminated to be so that nuisance conditions for the folks that live across the street on 11th can be met. F is it does not impact traffic flow. They've assured that. They've worked with our city engineering. And then G is that there's not an overconcentration of like uses in the vicinity. There are not any other electronic messaging boards within that 500-foot radius. And then in the sign code itself, in 1809-080E, it lists all of the recommendations and the parameters that an electronic messaging board has to follow. And staff did work with the sign company as well as the school to ensure that these limitations would be followed. And with that, this does conclude staff's presentation. Again, a representative from the school district and is here present, and then a representative from the sign company is on via Zoom if you have some site-specific questions for them.
Great, thank you. Any questions of staff or the applicants? It's online.
I do. Would you go back and show us again the directional location? Okay, so is it going to be sideways so that it's not glaring into the neighbor across the street?
Right.
You could read it going north and south on 11th Street, or is it going to actually face out to 11th Street?
So that's a great question, and this rendition here, or this artist's rendering, illustrates that it will be north-south, planar facing, so it will not face towards the east or west.
And then my other question is, you say that the sign is 6 foot by 3 foot. That's not very big. So what's the actual illumination part of that? Well, they said 6 foot by 3 foot on there. Is that
70 inches, 38 and 24, that's 11 feet tall.
okay? Their report then said that it was 6 foot by 3 foot.
So the illuminated portion right here is, per this rendition, this is 38 inches tall, so that's about 3 feet.
3 foot, yeah.
And then this width here is about 68 feet. So that would
68
get that,
inches.
68 inches.
So
thank
that's
you.
huge.
Now, it's a little sign.
Okay, got bigger than width.
So that gives you that
Yeah.
right
So
there.
that's almost 6 foot then.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that dimension was just the illuminated part then.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all the questions that I have. Thank you.
I have a question. Can we change or put an exception into our code that allows government entities such as the school district to not have to come before council to get a special review for a sign? Because in my opinion, that's my question. I'll have comments later.
Mr. Mayor, we would be more than happy to consider any type of code revision that will streamline the process. And I will make a note of your recommendation. And we're right in the middle of amending our land use code. So this is perfect timing to have that recommendation made.
I have one quick question. Chapelot just put in an electronic sign. Did they come, or was it already included? I'm confused as to why. I don't recall seeing this for them, but we see it for Union Colony.
No, and that's a great question. So Chapelot included their sign standard as part of their site plan application. The sign code then changed after they received approval. So Chapelot didn't have to go through this process. Had they not included the sign specifications in their site plan packet, you would have seen them as well.
Okay, perfect. And then, yeah, same question as Mark really on that. But
So I think, didn't you say that they have to come to us in the 85 corridor?
In the 85 corridor, they have to get a sign permit, but electronic messaging is allowed in the 85 corridor without coming forth with a permit for a land use permit. Anything electronic messaging outside that district needs to come before you for a land use permit.
Okay, and I just want to make sure that we still see it, because if you go, and you probably travel on Highway 34 and see the big light up sign that blinds you, I just think that we need to, again, look at that, not having those kind of signs.
Yeah, I think if we could look at having schools or something like a standard in our code for that would be great.
Well, let's get that.
Okay.
Yeah, any other
And
additional
taking
questions
notes.
for the applicant, the staff, or anybody?
Yes, how far away is the signal for the walk?
The signal for the walk is, this is where the sign would be, and the signal for the walk then is right here.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it won't be a distraction for
Well,
the walk. signal.
The sign itself is going to be elevated quite a bit. And so the crosswalk, the illuminated crosswalk, that will be just on, it's not happening all day long. It's just happening at school start and school stop times will be right about here. But Mr. Fowler from the school district or the school itself is here, and maybe he can answer some of those site-specific questions for you regarding the signalized crosswalk.
No, it can be activated by anyone at any time that wants to cross.
Mr. Fowler, if you maybe want to give some clarification for
Good
Councilmember
evening,
Neal.
Mayor and council members. So, any questions you have, my name is Jeremiah Fowler. I'm Executive Director of Union Colony Schools.
Does that, to your point, Fred, does that cross blink? I'm not super familiar with it
Yeah,
right
it
there.
does.
Okay,
It does when people are using it.
okay.
Yeah.
It's a blink.
So how close is it going to be then to the corner where upon a vehicle I guess it would not be too obstructive for a vehicle if there was some pedestrian that they might not see?
Because if they're going
That's a
northbound,
good question.
Yeah.
So we had a current monument installed that was put in when the school was built 10 years ago, which was much closer to 11th
Okay.
and ground level. We had it removed because I noticed that as you're on 29th Street trying to exit onto 11th going north or south, that monument, it blocked all visual of any kind of traffic coming from the north. So we had it taken down over the summer. This sign, the proposed distance, which we had, I think, Ann, you referred to as a triangulation study, or they do it where they triangulate the position of the sign. Right now is I believe it's 25 feet from both sidewalks, 11th and 29th Street. We elevated it to help with the traffic that's exiting on 29th. So I don't think the location or proposed location right now, I think it's better than the previous monument that we had. Yeah.
Any other additional questions?
None.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Because this is a public hearing, I'd ask if there's anybody in the audience that wishes to come up and address the city council that's in favor for this project or against it. If so, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
For the record, my name is Steve Teets from Greeley. I do have a concern. Let's say that, okay, you got one car, but the second car, it could block the vision, even though you still got to go up front, but there's still other traffic that's going on 11th Avenue. So I think that it should be back just a little bit more, so the vision, at least the first two cars have to 11th Avenue. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Anybody else in the audience wishing to come up and address city council in favor or against this? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain any council discussion.
I'm in favor of it. I think having it vertically like that will definitely do that area well. And only that will let you know that there's a school there. Because I know when it was removed, it's like it's for people, it's hard to know where there's a school. And then not only that, the traffic, they understand the traffic if they're not from the area. And also having that digital sign, I think would be great for the school just for messaging. And especially since people are there, they can also read what's happening, or even people in the vicinity. But I think it will also help that crosswalk to allow people to know there's a school here, because the school's kind of tucked away. It's like nestled in there. And so a lot of people don't realize that there's actually a school there unless you have a child. And so it'll just really, hopefully, have people, slow down.
Especially with the lights flashing. Even though there's a
Exactly.
school there, the lights are flashing. I don't think people really realize it's just right there
Yeah.
because it's kind of tucked away. But I'm also in favor of this as well. Again, kind of my comment on this is, I think for like the school districts or government entities, that should be able to provide that in their site plan, and there should be an exception for that up to a certain size, maybe something of this like 6 foot by 3 foot. But I think schools should be able to advertise and display information that's prevalent to, what's going on in that school district or that school in particular. That's one of their ways to communicate to the public, but I'm in favor of this.
I agree with the schools portion of it. I think businesses, we need to still kind of
Fully agree.
take a close look at it. But, I mean, my only concern is I don't want it, I'm concerned about vandalism. But I guess that's kind of a problem with everything these days. And I think if you have it set back far enough, a typical car, 10 foot times 2, 20, so we're talking, I think there'll be plenty of visionary field to make it safe. And then I think that if it becomes a safety hazard, we can address it at that time. Seems like the school is probably concerned about safety too, so I don't think they're going to be taking the lives of their, their parents and attendees. So I think it's great. I think that schools need to have a little message board, and I'm really happy to see that they're going to put something up there.
Looks like you have something.
Just to add to what Council Member Spear say, I'm hoping that if this get approved, we can able to maintain the upkeep of it, because I see a lot of faded signs around, and they just allow it to get weathered. So hopefully, if it does get approved, the school can continue just to maintain the colors and the presentation about it. So that's what I'm concerned about.
Any other additional comments?
Well, the two cars not being able to see around the sign, the second car, after the first one's departed on 11th Avenue, should pull out and stop.
Exactly.
Not just run
It's
through
true.
the stop sign like a lot of people do.
No, people don't do that.
We're looking at phones.
I still am slightly concerned a little bit that this might be a small distraction from the crosswalk light, but I think I'm in favor of it.
That's great.
All right, well, if there's not any more council discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Upon review of the criteria for approval found in Title 18 of the Municipal Code and staff's findings, I move to approve Resolution Number 42-2022 with the suggested conditions of approval and development standards as proposed.
I second.
I have a motion, a second, to approve Resolution Number 42-2022 with the suggested conditions of approval and development standards as proposed. All of those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next item, item number 6, liquor license renewal hearing for La Playa Sports Bar and Grill LLC. And I'm assuming, Mr. Crowe, this is supposed to be a public hearing.
Correct.
I will open up the public hearing and we will hear from staff.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I will turn this hearing over to Drew Lyman, our Assistant City Attorney, and Julie Kampka, our City Clerk.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. Drew Lyman, Assistant City Attorney, and you are seated as the Evans Liquor License Authority, which determines renewal applications when concerns arise through an administrative process. And that is taking place now based on concerns that have arisen through the administrative process during review. The building department, the finance department, the city attorney's office, and the police department, with the clerk as the secretary, sit as the administrative review team that renews liquor license renewal applications. And in this case, the concerns that have arisen in the administrative review process is that both of the owners of La Playa Sport Bar and Grill, that's the name of the applicant, and I'll walk through the evidence here, were convicted of violating the local noise ordinance, which constitutes good cause for non-renewal and is a violation of our liquor code, our municipal code, and the state liquor rules. In addition to that, those convictions, which one was a deferred sentencing agreement, those were not disclosed on the application for liquor license renewal, although that question was directly asked. In addition to that, the applicant has not filed a tax return nor paid any taxes during the license period. And I have here to answer any questions too. And again, like I said, I'll walk through the evidence here, but that's what it will show. We have Commander Dan Reynes with the Evans Police Department, and Julie Komka, the city clerk, who sits as the clerk of the authority. What I will do as this process goes is I'll pass out information that I have that's the documentary evidence, but then I have a PowerPoint that will pull the information that's directly relevant to the administrative review concerns. All the information in the PowerPoint is included. I just, for fairness to the applicant, have the full documents in this package of materials. And then I'll turn it over to Julie Komka or Commander Reynes for any additional information that they may have. And then at that point, under 5.08.020, the applicant, once we presented our concerns, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to the concerns that we have for the purpose of the Liquor License Authority, which under our code is the City Council, determining renewal. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, so you're seated like in a judicial capacity. One thing to keep in mind too, for fairness to the applicant, is that we're only concerning this particular application period in 2022. There was a prior liquor licensee, but it's a different entity with different owners, so information from that prior licensee is not to be considered here. But again, all the concerns that we'll address here are things that happened during this license period. Okay, thank you. And if I may, I'll approach and hand out these materials, and I'll give them to the applicant, and then we'll get started with a short PowerPoint from there.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you guys would like, I know you're here as the applicant and respondent. If you'd like, it might be a little while if you'd like to have a seat. And then if we have any questions or anything, you guys can come on up. You don't have to stand there the entire time.
So as I said, this is the liquor license renewal application hearing for La Playa Sport Bar and Grill LLC. This is the location of the establishment. This is the notice. Part of the due process of liquor license renewal is that the city has to provide notice to the applicant, and the state rules require that that notice be conspicuously posted on the premises at least 10 days prior to the hearing. So this is a photograph of the notice that's actually the first thing in your packet that was placed on the premises, also mailed on or about December 2nd of 2022. And then this is a police report snippet, and the significance of this is that it occurred at La Playa. The date was July 15th of 2022. Julia Blanco Holguin was cited for violation of the noise ordinance. at the establishment. So that's one of the owners of La Playa. And this is the first one. Let me just go back here briefly. That's July 15th, okay? Then on August 5th, Mr. Oscar Diaz Mieja was cited for the same citation or same code section violation, the noise ordinance, on August 5th. And again, this report establishes that both of these incidents happened at La Playa. This is the record from the Evans Municipal Court of the conviction for Mr. Blanco. And as I stated earlier, it was a deferred sentence. So what that means is that it was offered to plead guilty to the charge, and then provided that the conditions of the deferred sentence are followed, then that guilty plea would be withdrawn. The condition of that plea was that for 6 months, there would be no more noise ordinance violations. And as far as I know, Mr. Blanco himself is in compliance with that deferred sentencing agreement. This is the entry of a guilty plea for Mr. Diaz Mieja. There were 2 noise ordinance violations. He pleaded guilty to one of those charges. One was dismissed. My understanding from speaking with the clerk of the court is that Mr. Diaz Mieja is not compliant with the sentencing agreement on the noise ordinance for which he pleaded guilty in this case. And that happened during the license period. On November, the third line up from the bottom or second, it says conviction date November 10th of 2022. So that's when that conviction occurred. And the reason I point that date out is that it was not disclosed on the application, which was filed and signed under penalty of perjury by the same person 6 days later. This is the snippet from the November 16th renewal application. And the question was stated, since the date of filing of the last application, has the applicant or any of its agents, owners, managers, partners, or lenders other than licensed financial institution been convicted of a crime? If yes, attach a detailed explanation. The box no is checked. But as we saw here, there was a conviction and also a failure to appear and a guilty plea. This is where Mr. Mieja signed that application 6 days later, and it states, I declare under penalty of perjury in the second degree that this application and all its attachments are true, correct, and complete to the best of my knowledge. That's significant because the renewal authorities should ascertain the truthfulness of the applicant. And that concludes my presentation. Let me just check my notes to make sure I checked all the boxes. As I stated, the applicant has not paid taxes as required under the municipal code, nor have they filed a tax return during the license period. There were outstanding building code violations that were listed on the notice of renewal hearing, but my understanding from talking with the building official is that those concerns have been resolved. And at this point, I'd like to ask Commander Reynes if he has anything to state, and along with the clerk, Julie Komka, and then we'll turn it to the applicant. Thank you.
Just to reiterate on the noise violations, before citations were issued, and these are citations under, if you recall, the revised noise ordinance that you handled about mid-year last year. If you recall, the previous ordinance was rather ambiguous, and it was much more clearly defined with the revision. We gave all liquor establishments and bars in the city written copies of that ordinance. Officers visited every establishment and the Moose Lodge to educate all establishments on the new ordinance and what it meant. Warnings were given after those were provided, and then enforcement via citations occurred. So total of 3, as Drew mentioned, and those were all driven by citizen complaints. They were not officer initiated.
And then I would just like to add, on behalf of our finance director, Jackie Trout, who could not be here this evening, she did provide me with a written statement that indicated that Thomas Crow from her staff did email the applicants on November 17th of this year to inform them that all taxes needed to be paid, filed and paid prior to the liquor license being renewed. As of last week, they paid their $25 business license fee and the $1,600 occupational tax, and that is all that has been received by the city since.
So at this point, I think that it would be proper to turn the matter over to the applicant to explain, answer any questions that the City Council Liquor License Authority has, or for me as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions of staff and or the applicant by anybody on council?
Yeah,
Good.
of course. But I can go last because
Well, if you're ready to go, go ahead. That's fine.
I just
Yeah, no,
I want to give everybody a chance.
no, you
Ask
will, you
questions.
will.
Approximately how much would you estimate the taxes that are outstanding to be?
Unfortunately, at this time, we can't even estimate that because we would have to do it based on a similar liquor license holder. I know Jackie is on Zoom. She may be able to guesstimate that, but it would be from May to current of this year.
So to be clear, there has been no taxes paid to the city whatsoever from the time
They
of-
opened, correct,
Okay, so we can't estimate that.
correct.
Okay, I think that answers the question that I have on that. I have another question. What was the demeanor of the defendants while they were in court defending, you know, with the noise ordinance?
They were both cooperative.
Okay. Okay, and do we know that when they were responding to these calls, do we know the demeanor of the night on the night of the calls when they were being answered?
I don't have information to the contrary. I don't want to misspeak.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Councilmember Watson.
I just wanted to verify, in the report I read, it said that the fees from court had not been paid either. Is that still accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
Thank you.
Councilmember Neal?
Julie, are they required to make quarterly payments, tax payments?
They are required to make the tax payments. I believe they choose the schedule to pay it on, whether it's quarterly, monthly or annually.
Okay,
But
thank you.
as of right now, we've received nothing.
And if I may add, they're required to file tax returns, even if there was zero revenue, to ascertain whether or not there is taxable revenue, and they have not filed a return.
So my question I have regarding, so we have the noise violations, and I know that you mentioned the deferred judgment sentence. So has that deferred judgment and sentence been revoked because of other violations of that? Or is this was after?
No, the deferred sentence, there's compliance on that, and those cases are closed, and other than complying with the terms of the deferred sentence and the finance paying on Mr. Mage's part.
I've got another one.
Go ahead.
I just thought of one more. I do apologize. I read in the report too that apparently the building had been possibly hit and there were some structural issues. Now, from what I understand, they don't own the building. They're renting it for their business. So do we know if the owner of that property has been notified of the building, or is that up to them to notify the owner?
Well, that would be up to them to notify the owner. We did look at building concerns and had the allegation in there that a car struck an exterior wall of the building. And in the posting of the notice, there's a notice from the building official that states that entry is limited above our notice, if we could go back. But when talking with the building official today, there had been a permit that was, I'll just stop.
So along that line of questioning, just so I can tie it in with that, from what I understand, there was repairs done, but it was not up to code. have those been addressed as well to her question?
I'm not sure. The building official stated that there was a permit application and that it appears that the repairs are being made, but I had that same question, frankly.
The permit application was issued within the last couple of days, or within the last week, even though they were notified of the need to repair the building dating back several months.
I have a question for the applicant.
Go ahead.
So I noted that on the signage, the door sign, there's something that says cash only. First, I want to know if that's true, and second, how are you then tracking sales?
Oh, that's an old sign that was left there.
Okay, thank you.
So my question to you as the applicant as well, basically not to beat around the bush, is why have you not paid any taxes that may be owed to the city over the last 9-10 months?
Nosotros empezamos, bueno, cuando nosotros venimos a aplicar la primera vez por la licencia, duramos 11 meses para poder abrir el lugar.
When we first came to apply for the license, we took like 11 months to open the place.
11 meses estuvo cerrado el lugar.
So it was closed for 11 months.
Abrimos en mayo.
We barely opened in May.
Can that be verified?
Yeah, she said till May, you would
May,
May, June, July, August, September,
Right.
still.
Right, that's what I'm saying, for at least 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Okay.
En ese lapso tuvimos la persona que fue y se metió al lugar y no tenía aseguranza. Nosotros tuvimos que cubrir, o estamos cubriendo las reparaciones del lugar.
In that lapse of time, that's when the car went into the place, wrecked to the place. And we had to fix it ourselves because the person didn't have insurance.
What recourse would there be if this happened to be denied and they still owe taxes? What recourses would the city have to collect back taxes?
I don't think the denial affects the city's ability to collect back taxes. This is a liquor license application, and there's a business license as well. And then the obligations to pay the taxes still exist, so.
I have a question, I just thought of.
Well, Councilmember Johnson. Go ahead.
When filling out the renewal for the liquor application, did you have someone assist you in filling it out? And the reason I asked is, were you able, because it's in English, I see that it was submitted as the English version. Did you understand every single question that you were answering on the application?
En el momento de llenar la aplicación, ¿tú entendiste todo lo que decía la aplicación? ¿O alguien te ayudó a llenar?
¿Ahora esta vez o la primera vez?
The first time or this
The
last time?
renewal, la
Esta
renovación.
Yo la llené y cuando la traje aquí, la traje para ver si todo estaba bien y me dijeron que estaba bien.
He filled it out himself, and when he filled it out himself, he came here to get it checked, and they told him it was fine.
So then you didn't have like an interpreter or someone to assist you?
No tuvo un intérprete o alguien que lo asistiera.
Mi hijo le pregunté.
My son helped me.
Okay. When, did you acquire the application or was it provided to you?
¿Usted fue por la aplicación o se la?
No la mandaron por correo.
They send it through the mail.
Who?
¿Quién?
No sé, me llegó al local.
I don't know, it went to the bar.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Martin, I know you had a question.
I don't know if they know or the city knows, when was the building hit by the car?
¿Cuándo fue exactamente que le pegó el carro al edificio? Like September?
Okay, and they continued to have events or run a business there after the building was still hit, correct?
Ustedes siguieron teniendo
fueron a inspeccionar un inspector de la ciudad y nos hizo bloquear esa área y que siguiéramos operando con la pero nos redujeron el...
that certain part.
Okay,
An inspector from the city went to look at it,
okay.
they just blocked half of it.
Sorry, can you use the microphone so we can pick this up?
What?
Can you use the microphone, please?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Neal or Councilmember Providence, do you have any questions for the applicant and or staff?
Is there an accident report from that vehicle damage? You said the driver didn't have no insurance?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
The vehicle that hit the building, you made the repairs, but did you get a police report, anything?
Aunque si el vehículo que le pegó al carro, ¿tienen algún reporte de policía o algo? Yes.
Okay, I would like to see that too, but that's all.
Any other additional questions, comments?
We don't have it with us.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm sorry?
We don't have the police report with us,
Okay, no problem.
but there is a police report. And they arrested the person also.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Julie, you had stated that they had paid their occupational tax and their business license fee?
For 2023.
Okay, so that was a renewal of the license that they were
Correct.
paying. Okay, perfect. That's my only question. Thank you.
Any other additional questions, Councilmember Providence?
I have another question. So the driver did not have any insurance, but you found the funds to repair the damages to your building?
La persona que chocó el local no tenía aseguranza, pero ustedes son los que se hicieron responsables por pagar.
Estamos así junto con el dueño del lugar, negociamos para arreglar.
Yes, we are repairing it. The owner's also paying for the repair.
Nosotros y el dueño.
Us two and the owner are paying for the repairs.
Any other additional questions, comments, or additional questions, sorry? All right, seeing that there's no additional, did you have anything more to add?
Yes,
Go ahead, sorry.
He also wants to comment something about the taxes.
Please.
Los primeros meses casi todas las ventas fueron negativas,
At the beginning, we didn't have somebody to do our paperwork and everything. So we had to get somebody new, and we're just getting, started with all the paperwork and everything. That's why we also, had trouble with the taxes. And we already paid the state taxes also. We're just waiting on the city to let us know how much the city taxes are.
Sales tax is self-reported.
Right.
That's my concern, I guess, and that's why I asked about the revenue and how that's tracked. So that's, I guess, in question form, still a concern of how you're tracking revenues because they are self-reported.
Sí, que como, we have all the reports from the bank, everything. And, where we pay the people that work there also.
Déjame le digo, tienes que hemos tenido tiempos difíciles.
We've had hard times.
Desde que empezamos a abrir.
Ever since we opened.
Porque pues duramos 11 meses pagando renta, pagando biles, pagando todo lo que el local necesitaba.
Because we lasted like 11 months to pay off like bills, rent, everything that was owed on that property.
Sin estar trabajando.
And we weren't working.
Entonces, la persona que chocó el local resultó que tiene el apellido de uno de los antiguos dueños del local, de los del Tropicano.
And the person that wrecked into the place, you know, has the last name of one of the pre-owners of the place.
Y pues nos han amenazado de muerte. Tienen un reporte donde nos han mandado mensajes de que nos van a matar y que van a ir a matar gente ahí.
So I have a question real quick along your line that you just spoke of.
What you said, I think that's important.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely, please.
I think we missed a good chunk of information.
So my dad is practically saying that when this place opened, he had a very hard time having it open, keeping up with the past mistakes that were done, and he wanted to come up and do everything different, from security to sales to people getting in fights to noise complaints to everything, which has been kind of difficult up until now because, of course, he's new to this, but he has previous experience with every other club in this Weld County area, with the Rodeo to the other one, and Evans to all of them, and he's kept all of them afloat. It's been hard because he was in debt, because he had a hard time opening the club. He had a hard time, like I said, catching up with the debt that was beforehand. And of course, coming up to you guys and showing you guys that, of course, with even past experience, that he wanted to do this differently. And what he was trying to say is this person that crashed into the playa recently has a last name with the previous owner. So they're related somehow. And my family and him, with the other owners of the company, have been getting death threats, death calls, like watch your back, your family, because of course they know who the owner is. So that's all he was trying to explain to you guys, that it's been hard, but he's trying to keep it afloat, and he's trying to get everyone's understanding on everything, from you guys to the other owners to the customers to the people around the club to every concern that's being brought to him.
So my two questions for you is one, I know everybody falls on hard times and everybody has difficult times. I get that, I understand that, and I appreciate that. My question is, have you reached out to the city or to anybody in the staff and saying, hey, I know we have taxes that we have to pay. Can we get an extension? We fell in some hard times. Have you done that? And then second question, is this your full-time job, or is this, you have a full-time job and you're running this second?
No, he has two jobs. He owns a security business that is not just in his club, it's in other clubs. He works for Fusion here in Greeley, Colorado. And then the taxes problem, like I said, my father isn't best at communication. He's not the best at telling us. We probably can get very better at that if he has help from around everyone, especially me, my older sister, my husband, my sister's husband. I'm sure if I can tell my dad, hey, I could go with you to Evans and talk to them about money problems, then I can help him with that, and he can take care of the rest he has going on over there. But that, it can be a fixable problem very fast. And like he said before, he's working on that too. It's not being left unattended.
I appreciate your clarity on that, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other additional questions?
I just want to ask, just kind of, I don't know if you really answered. So the mayor mentioned that, have you reached out in regards to your situation, and also has someone provided any resources, since you mentioned that you're kind of figuring out your accounting component for your business?
Si has hablado con alguien de la ciudad de aquí, has tratado de hacer un arreglo con ellos de los taxes o... ¿Ustedes tienen alguien que está haciendo ya? So, like was previous said, the person that was doing their accounting and all that wasn't doing a very good job, so they had to get rid of him, and they kind of had to start from scratch. So like I said, the person that's doing it now has called the city of Evans, so she's trying to kind of like work out with the paperwork that the last person did, which was not very good. So she's trying to kind of get their money in order and get all their accounts back to zero.
Thank you.
If there are no any additional questions, I will, because this is a public hearing, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
If there are any additional questions, is there anybody in the audience that wishes to come up and speak in favor of this? If so, please come up. Anybody that wishes to speak in denial of this? Denial?
No, in favor.
In favor? Okay, come on up. State your name and address for the record, please.
No, I'm just in favor. I'm her husband, so I'm just going through the motions here with the family and everything else. Like I said, I mean they've been trying hard. Like I said, it's just I don't know what's going on with their business, but I know that they've been trying to reach out to certain people and trying to get rid of the old accounting and trying to get a new ones in and everything else. So it's been a little struggle trying to get everything put together, you know. But other than that, I mean, they've been trying to keep it afloat. He's trying to keep 2 jobs together, trying to keep the family going and everything else. So it's just kind of frustrating trying to, you know, keep it going and going at it. And just, I mean, it's just, I'm here just to support the family because I know they're really hardworking family. And that's really what I'm here for. And I just hope you guys can understand the situation here and give us another chance to just try to make it right. And pretty much that's it.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it. Is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to come up and speak in favor or against this? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and comments from council. Councilmember Mortensen.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I have a couple of proposed orders for the council, one granting the application, one denying it, that I probably should distribute at this time.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. All right, go ahead, Councilmember Mortensen.
Okay, so when I was reading through everything, it was a bit frustrating for me. Back when they first applied, I was one of the 2 people to vote no because things weren't prepared. The application had not been filled out correctly. At that time, I don't know if you guys remember, but we were told then family helped. We had family testify then as well. But my problem is the first application was not completely filled out truly, and the second application has the exact same issues. And then seeing the other issues that have come up, for me, I don't see how I could approve this liquor license, especially when it sounds like there's a lot going on right now, and maybe time is needed to get everything situated before reapplying for a liquor license. So for me, I mean, 2 applications in a row, and then some of these other issues, and taxes are you keep track of that yourself. Just with everything for me, just in general, so you guys know where I'm coming from, especially with 2 applications in a row not being fully truthful, even if there's someone there to help. We've got family here now. We've got, they said the son did help at some point on that application. If I remember correctly, when people come to a city or whatnot, they can ask for help with, filling things out. So for me, I personally can't approve this liquor license request. So, but that's just my comments.
I don't want to interrupt the discussion, but just so you know, you have in front of you the applicant's note 12. We have 2 proposed orders. The shorter one is if you grant the application, there are some specific findings there. But then the order that would end up in denying the application, there are 3 underlying questions and 1 fundamental question. The underlying questions are, was there an undue noise violation that violated the code? Was there a false statement on the application? Was there a failure to pay taxes? And then it's based on your findings with regard to those 3 underlying facts that we
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other additional comments?
Well,
Or is
do you
there
want to
more?
go ahead?
Yeah, let me go ahead. Hearing this matter brought before us, there's a lot of discrepancies here that's very concerning to me. How long they been in business? Since May. A lot of things need to be corrected with the taxes. I mean, the clientele, I know it's a liquor store, it's hard to keep the right clientele coming and going out your business. A bar, sorry. Oh no. And the gentleman brought before us a family, said they're working 2 jobs trying to get this business up and running. If he gets another chance, he's gonna have security, do a lot better job, maintaining the business, upkeep with his taxes, upkeep. I don't know. They have a lot on their plate to deal with, but the issue is the noise complaints. I mean, I thrive in Evans as being a quiet, decent place to live, but a business like this is concerning with the lack of taxes and the noise complaints, clientele, the customers. And I'll think about this a little bit before.
Well, my issue with this, and I'll just be brief, is that kind of along what Councilmember Mortensen said. When this originally started back out, when we heard it, I know the applicant came to us and I was on the fence about it, but basically from what I gave them the chance in order to come into Evans and do business in here based on what was stated, the security, reducing the noise violations, addressing all the concerns that we had at the time. And unfortunately, it still seems like it's persistently going on. The taxes do bother me. And also what bothers me as well is, the reason why the taxes bothers me as well is because the sign on the door says cash only. Kind of sounds like you're trying to skirt around, some not paying taxes. But for me, in all good consciousness, I would normally give people a second chance, but based on this evidence, I can't in good conscience recommend this.
Well, I have no doubt that you guys are hardworking people. I do have my concerns about the business, and based on the evidence that has been given to us, I think that they need time to get their business going without the actual business being liquor licensing and having, you guys need to get your accountant in order. You need to come up with a better business plan. I do think that hasn't seemed to be anything saying what the previous problems were. It seems like your security issue is doing better, but the taxes, the cash, we all come across hard times. I understand that you're working hard, but I think that for me, at this time, based on the evidence that has been provided, that it is a no on the liquor license for me. And I hope that you can get it together and come back and maybe have a better, clearer application, and also a clearer plan on the taxes. But no matter how hard of times that you have, you still have to pay your taxes. And you still have to report it, and that's something that is a business owner's responsibility. So I hope that you guys can take that into consideration if you want to continue having a business. But at this time, I agree, no liquor license, and for me, no business license at this time either.
Councilmember Neal or Mayor Pro Tem?
Well, I think you covered it pretty well. I've actually had a friend that had a partnership where they were installing wooden window shades in condos up in Vail. Come to me and want me to do his taxes, and then gave me just receipts, and I had to literally reconstruct the books, and it took me working just as I had time about a week. So a good accountant can get that straightened out for him.
I agree also with everyone. I think at this moment, it looks like there's there needs to be more emphasis on organizing yourself. And I also agree in the fact that when it comes to, taxes, those are self-reported. So in essence, just report what you have, and then the city will always kind of guide you in the direction to head. As a new business, being new to the business, and maybe this is the first time you're doing these kind of things, anything that you have is better than nothing. And so just the simple fact that nothing was really provided, and it makes it difficult to move forward with granting a renewal at this time. And again, I do say at this time, and I know that you're putting a lot of effort into your business, and I know it's hard, especially to get things running as you navigate what you're going through and the hardships. But I do agree at this time, there's a no for me.
Yeah, I fully agree with what Councilwoman Spear said. I do firmly believe that you're working really hard and trying your best. I think just getting that organization done, getting those accounting records in order will be advantageous in the future. But based off of the findings today, I think it's going to be a no from me as well.
And I'll lastly say, it's not that, I said, we want you to be in Evans. We want you to do business with Evans.
Yeah.
We would like you to come back to us and reapply for a liquor license at a later date, but just be able to show us and prove to us that, you have a great family that's standing behind you, that's willing to help you. Maybe ask them for help to get your records in order, get your taxes paid. Provide that proof. That way that when you go and renew for your license, staff can say to us, they've caught up on everything. They fixed everything that we've addressed and we brought to a concern. Because, like I said, right now, based on the evidence, I'm not in favor. But if you can come back to us and say, we've got it all taken care of, this is our plan going forward, I don't think there would probably be any doubt that we wouldn't reconsider at that time. But utilize your resources that you have. Don't be afraid to use them. If you need help, utilize those resources and, come back to us. We'll talk.
Do you guys help with any of that?
No, it's okay, babe. Thank you.
Well, that's a good question.
So when we started to reopen the business, so we try to work together, because the city always say something, you need this form, we need some proof, whatever the city needed, bring right here. So after that, we opened the place. It's like almost 2 years, so the place closed when there was a Tropicana. So that's hard part for us, start looking for the customer and everything, for the worker. And at this point, we had, know whatever I want, the people, what the pay foods and everything. But it's keep working, So, and for the taxes, the first months and always, everybody report like a zero because all us. We work with somebody before, and they just say, yeah, we have to be waiting for the quota or something like that for pull it up the taxes. And after that, she not did it, And we find another girl, so she started working in that, and she called right here in the city. I don't know with who, but she called right here and asked for the taxes and everything. Is I don't know who's given the information, and she started working in that. So the other thing is about the noise. So we, after getting the ticket for the noise, we start to do the best job, I promised to the police, when they show up, okay, this is that's fine. I never try to get more tickets for the noise, so we try to work in that. And we try to work together. So any complaints, any problem in the playa, so we call to the police, and the police go happy and say, so doing very good job. So at this point, if we not get the license, so it's not just for us, It's not just for me, it's not just for my partner, and for all my family, for all his family. We had like 13 people working over there. So we open like Thursday, and today is Wednesday. So what happened? We have to call tomorrow, first thing in the morning, and say, oh, people, hey, you don't have more work. So that's the hard part for us. We try to keep the business open for that part. If we try to work together for keep the business open. So just all I need is one opportunity, And like we open like almost like 5 months, but you pay attention, only open like 4 days a week. So it's not full 5 months. So that is something we can think about, because it's hard, because all the companies are listening, we need like 2 weeks notify, say, hey, you don't have no more job, you don't have nothing. So all the people right now, we have to be, tomorrow I have to call all the work, hey, no more work, for what?
You guys have a job, I have a reason. You guys say I have other job, yeah, but the sales in the bar is not too high, Sometimes only have money for pay the people. But I need to pay the rent to my house, to the bar. I need to pay energy in my house and the bar. I need to pay gas in my house for my family, food for my family. So yeah, right, I have other job. But it's too hard to pay for the
money
thing.
so he can become illegal, so you guys aren't racist towards him, so he can actually open a company, so he can actually come up to you guys and be like, hey, I have legal paperwork, like, let me do this. Like, it's just you guys don't realize that he's actually trying, and it really hurts because what all you guys can say is, yeah, we understand, but you guys don't, because my dad has had a really hard time getting to this point, because, ya que, dad, ya que, te estoy tratando de ayudar. And I get that it is a major issue, but like I said, I didn't know what was going on, because he's very enclosed. He doesn't like to bring family into his money issues. But like I said, we are very good English speakers. I'm a very good fighter for him. I can stand up for him. So if he needs to fix his paperwork and he needs to come back to you guys and be like, hey, we're 100% legit, we can do this, then that's no problem. But it seems to always be something with you guys. Like, of course, there's going to be a couple noise complaints here and there. It's a nightclub, they have music, but people have the opportunity to come over here and publicly speak and be like, hey, I have an apartment next to this nightclub. I would like to not open it. I have kids that sleep here, whatever it is. They had every opportunity to come here and say that, and nobody did. So that's why they proceeded to open this, and now that it's open, they want to, like, of course there's going to be noise. Like, come on.
No, it's this organization. I know my family helped me. I understand this point. But I told you this stay closed for 11 months. So I'm paying the rent for 11 months. It's close to $18,100. No, $18,000, something like that. So it's too hard to pay a lot of money and not receive nothing back, So open the bar. You're probably right. There's a bar. The people go over there. No, it's not right. Just go and stay right there and dancing and go eat food or something like that. But not drink too much. So this no it's a lot of money. Just go inside, And yeah, I told you, you're right. I have other job, but then my job I need to pay everything. This my partner too. So we need to pay the rent. I need to pay energy. I need to pay water. I need to pay a lot of bills. So I asking guys for other opportunity, and this paying probably the taxes pay next week or the couple of weeks, no more. But the noise is, remember that here in the town, is the people call you guys and say, hey, the music is too high. But I'm not sure it's too high or no. Because right here, use only the calls. Somebody called, the police department go over there and say, oh, you have too high the music, So depends to the people. No depends to the decibels. ¿Cómo se dice decibels? Yeah. So it's not the same. You say it's the same thing to the last owners. It's not, because we don't have a fightings, we don't have a drunks, we don't have a drugs, we don't have a nothing. The only thing we have 2, 3 times the people call you guys and say, hey, the music is too high. That's it.
And it's a club.
But it's a club. And I'm working on that. We don't have any more after that. So we don't have a people, I have the shadow, the people is wrong. I'm driving for house. I driving to the people to the house. I'm not telling the people, hey, no, you're drunk, you stay here. I go and put in your house. We don't have accidents over there. We don't have nothing. We don't have money for now. It's the only thing. But listen, couple weeks or probably next week, just pay everything, the taxes and everything,
Yeah, like I say, we're working on that.
I just want to say, personally, I want you guys to succeed. I don't want to see your business fail, and we are glad that you're in Evans, and by no means or any way that we're trying to get rid of you. That's not what I want to say. I want businesses to come to Evans. I want businesses to thrive in Evans. We're just, we're not in the position of wanting to do the things that we may have to do. It's just we have to look at the facts and the evidence and make a sound judgment based on that. Okay. And that's what we're presented with. So,
I don't have a problem with the noise. The noise has been good since, August or so? Yep. I just have the tax problem. I own a business too. I've worked multiple jobs. I had to put the taxes first before I even put food in my mouth. Before I paid my employees. You have to pay the taxes first.
Yeah, that is something we are learning.
Yeah, and then you have to also fill out your forms. Your paperwork is very important. Has to be done.
So what we're saying is organize yourself, and if you, and again, reach out if there's something you don't understand, because there's staff, and I'm sure they can provide resources. And so in order to assist you, but just get organized. And as the mayor said, you can always come back.
So I remember the first time we come right here, so I don't know, she is right here, no, I don't think so, but she said we can give us like for 6 months for approving, we can do everything good. So
how
at this point, maybe I can do the same, You think we can?
well, I don't know. We're gonna go ahead and take a vote, and we'll see where it goes. And if there's anybody else that wants to modify it and maybe present something else, we can. But I think at this point, it sounds like the majority of the council is ready to make a vote.
Well, after their plea, you might want to make sure
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
And if
there's any more
if
discussion.
there's any more discussion from council, if not, I would entertain a motion. Sorry. Well, that's what I'm saying. If anybody has any, if not, go ahead and I'd entertain a motion.
I move to deny the liquor license application of La Playa Sport Bar and Grill LLC.
Actually, so I know that. Do we have to use the order that's on the one that you sent out for the?
Well, I think that the motion at least needs to indicate the reasons for denying it, whether that is the undue noise, the failure to pay taxes, those 3 items.
Okay.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be word for word what's in the order.
Okay. All right.
You want me to read it again?
If you want to
Okay.
add that to the reasons for denial.
Okay, the findings.
Oh, the
Yeah,
findings?
the findings,
Okay.
It doesn't have to be all of them. You can just say
Just
because of
one.
X, Y, and Z.
Okay. So I move to deny the liquor license application of La Playa Sport Bar and Grill LLC. Do I read that one?
So yeah, if it's
Throughout the license period, La Playa has failed to pay any taxes or file any returns in violation of EMC subsection 3.04.530. Second.
I have a motion and a second to deny the liquor license application for La Playa Sports Bar and Grill LLC because throughout the licensing period, La Playa has failed to pay any taxes or file any returns in violation of Evans Municipal Code 3-04-530. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes for the denial of the liquor license. Thank you, appreciate it.
I had one more question. So when would they be able to put in another application?
You would have to talk to staff on that, so I would suggest that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is 2022 traffic signal cabinet replacement project purchase request, and we will hear from staff when they're ready.
Yes, Mayor and council members, the 2022 capital improvement program includes funding for the replacement of 7 of our traffic signal cabinet boxes that are obsolete and no longer functioning well. This funding at about $20,000 each will replace those with equipment that has battery backups and will perform better. This bulk purchase of about $140,000 is above the threshold for staff to approve, so it is coming to you for your approval. I've got City Engineer Mark Oberschmidt here to describe this purchase in more detail and answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Randy. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Yes, we're looking to replace some of the cabinets at the 7 of the traffic signals in town, primarily because the boxes are too small. It's like trying to get your knuckles in there and you get your knuckles all bloodied up just trying to pull out the wires and the chips and whatnot. So this will allow us to, number one, expand what we can do at the various traffic signals. We'll be able to potentially in the future communicate between signals using wireless or Bluetooth, so that signals can time themselves better. We can also add in the possibility of the talking pedestrian crosspaths. That can be included inside the box because it's bigger and able to handle the capability. It also has potential for battery backup inside the boxes and plug and play if we need to plug in a generator. Right now, if we lose power and we have an electrician, he has to hot spark it to get it started again, which is not the safest of things to do. And then on top of that, we're getting great prices because we're piggybacking on CDOT's purchase for these boxes. So that gives us a price that's pretty outstanding. And then the remainder of the budget, as it is noted in the memo, would roll over into the actual installation in the 2023 budget. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. The boxes you're planning to replace with the updated battery systems, what's the lifespan of those things?
That I'd have to look up. I don't know the lifespan of the battery, but the battery is just a backup, and it really only has to last for a few hours.
Just a few hours.
Yeah, and then plus we have the ability, if it goes longer than that we can actually just bring a Honda generator and plug it right in, and it can run until if we have power outages, it'll longer than a few hours.
Have you ever had to do that in the past?
We haven't had to do that because we can't do that right now. Because right now, if we want to do anything with the wires, we have to actually do the wiring with an electrician.
About 2 years ago, we had a power outage in my ward, and the lights was out for almost a day. Mm. So I'm just concerned about the power support.
Yeah, and the battery, like you said, the battery backup.
Yeah, the battery system. I mean, I know there's a lifespan of the lights and how long they can be emitted, but hopefully the technology, what we purchase, will be applicable enough. Could have at least like 3-4 days of
that. I would look into that when we go and purchase the actual batteries. But we can plug in a generator and keep a generator going for a long period of time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other additional questions, comments? Straightforward to me. I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the traffic signal cabinet replacement project purchase request in the amount of $139,615.
I second.
I have a motion, a second, to approve the traffic signal cabinet replacement project purchase request in the amount of $139,615. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, report city manager.
One additional invitation, as we talked about during the work session, the roundabout at 37th Street and 47th Avenue, as well as that widening of 37th Street from Sienna to just west of 47th is scheduled for this year. We are expecting bids next Thursday, the 12th. The next in a series of public outreach for this will be held on this Thursday evening, Thursday the 5th at 7 o'clock over at Ann K. Hyman Cafeteria. Invitations have gone out to the surrounding homeowners associations and social media, Arrowhead, Tuscany, Monte Vista, Grapevine Hollow, etc. So this is one of a series of these public outreach events. This one's a couple months before starting of construction, but as you know, this will involve about a 3-month period of no access, no traffic, through traffic on 37th Street. So we'll have impact, and we're taking that very seriously in terms of getting the word out on this. So to make sure you all knew about that, we're invited to Ann K. Hyman, 7 p.m. on Thursday.
Thank you. City Attorney.
Nothing further this evening.
All right. Moving on, audience participation. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to address City Council on any item? Come on up, Mr. Steve. State your name and address for the record, please.
For the record, my name is Steve Keats, and I'm in Greeley. I just have one question. On 32nd Street between 11th Avenue and 17th Avenue, the road is in bad shape, and I was just wondering because you were talking about in your work session your projects for 2023, and I just was wondering if one of them is repaving on 32nd Street between 11th Avenue and 17th Avenue.
I see our city engineer. I am in agreement with you on that. I know I've mentioned it before, but
I think it's on there.
Yeah, we'll be bringing that to work session on the 17th. I don't have the list in front of me as to exactly which streets are in the plan at this moment in time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. All right, if there are no additional audience participation, I will adjourn the meeting and we'll move into the ERA meeting. Does anybody need a quick break? All right, we'll take a quick 5-minute break and then we'll move into the ERA. Actually, we'll just start at